E agora?
Okay.
Podes partilhar o ecrã?
Hello everyone and welcome to another BIM Zero series event. Today's event is What is Collaboration and What is CoDesign? My name is Daniel Monteiro. I will be your host today. And this video is developed by BIM Freelance and sponsored by BIM Week and BIM Campus. Joining us today as speaker is José Carlos Lino. He's an engineer and professor at the University of Minho. He's also the founder and partner of Newton and partner of BIM-MS. He's the CEO of NoSBIM and academic director of the International Master BIM Manager in Portuguese. He's also a member of InfraRoom at Building Smart International. Hello, José Carlos, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, so we'll jump right to the event. I thank everyone for being here, and warm welcome for you for taking the time to be here with us. And so we will jump straight to the questions. And starting, I will ask you about the state of art. So at the ag industry, the architecture, engineering, and construction, why couldn't you collaborate before?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and it is a pleasure to be here with you and with all that are listening to us. Why isn't the AEC industry collaborating? Well, the AEC sector has always had a need for collaboration, but has rarely managed to collaborate effectively and efficiently. I suppose that the particular interest of each stakeholder is taking precedence in decision-making over the common benefit of project development. So lots of times we are thinking about me and not thinking about we or the whole process. This is probably the main issue in collaboration in this industry. And also the fragmentation of responsibilities throughout the process has also contributed to the avoidance of collaborative engagement with shared responsibility. And this word responsibility is so important in what we are speaking today, that is collaborating.
Okay, so what, in your opinion, is collaboration?
Well, in simple terms, collaboration is to work with another person or group in order to achieve a common goal or to achieve or to do something. Collaboration with other stakeholders in a project means making one's own decision based on the decisions of the whole group in such a way that everyone will benefit from it. And it is not only individual walk. No, it's a cooperative, collaborative, and participative walk throughout the development of the whole project.
Okay, so and what are the conditions for collaboration?
Well, there are lots of conditions for collaboration, but in a nutshell, we may say that to collaborate, we need to understand our role and scope within the project, okay? We need to define a shared purpose of vision or a set of goals that cannot be achieved alone. We need to understand how our decisions will affect the common project. We need to know how to interpret the implication of other people's decisions on what we are doing. We need to be willing to adapt our decisions to those of the other members in search of the common benefit of the proper execution of the project. And of course, it should exist sound relationships among the group. Those are some of the conditions for collaboration to exist. There are others. There should exist a governance system that may be more horizontal, more vertical, that should exist trust, that should exist leadership. So at a certain point, collaboration is the ancient as human beings. So we have collaborated since ever. So it's something that is normal to us, but difficult and hard to achieve.
Are there conditions today to collaborate?
Well, in our industry, it's being hard to collaborate, as we have already spoken. And a relational contract in AC industry is one of the game shifting decisions that the client may take to improve collaboration today. And it is not being practiced. And we have not relational contracts like IPD, for instance, today yet. Okay.
And when will this level of maturity be reached?
Well, in the world, there are different levels of maturity in terms of collaboration. There are countries that are, in fact, very much aware of the necessity of understanding that their activity, the individual activity, is part of a whole. The responsibility is shared, and that their own success depends on the success of the whole. And there are other countries that are much more, where people work much more individually, are not trusting each other yet. So there are different levels, but this level of high level of maturity in terms of collaborative will be reached when we start to trust each other and understand that we are part of a global process.
So that is not always achieved, right?
Yeah, not always. Sometimes it can happen in some stages of the process due to the affinity, proximity, or because of several of operations have been included in the same partial contract. In this case, we may achieve partial contract, but it is difficult to achieve collaboration in the process as a whole because of all these hurdles, let's say.
Okay, so Lynn, what are the collaborative roles or profiles?
Generally speaking, the collaborative roles that we may mention here could be the editor, the reviewer, and the observer. The editor generates the content, it's responsible for the task, let's say. The reviewer checks its correctness, checks if it is okay, verifies, and the observer checks its adequacy with the rest of the context, with the rest of the project, with the rest of the tasks. These roles should be extended to any content creation or work within the project. Obviously, there can be levels and scales in each of them and in the whole project. So we might have small parts of these three main profiles: editor, reviewer, and observer. Okay.
Okay, and are they always different people?
No, not necessarily. When you have small environments, people tend to do several profiles, several roles, instead of individual roles. But the reviewer and observer usually can be the same, or in smaller environments can be the same person. It's harder to combine them with the editor as well, because you can't verify what you are doing. Okay, it's not a very good way of doing things.
And that reviewer, is he collaborating as well?
Of course. When you are reviewing, you are not only being a referee, you are judging. And when you are judging, you are contributing in a certain way to have some difference, to induce some difference in the process, okay? So, of course, the reviewer can collaborate as well.
Okay. Now, should collaboration occur in the project entities?
Of course, it should, but not only. Collaboration should be understood as a philosophy shared by all those involved in a project, whatever the level, entity, or role in the project. So not only in the entity, but also in the entity, let's say like this, okay?
Okay, and what requirements must the members of the entity fulfill? And how do they collaborate?
To be able to carry out their activity considering previously, simultaneously, and subsequently the activity of the rest of the members of the entity. These are the requirements for members to collaborate. Consider previously, simultaneously, and subsequently the activity of the rest in what they are doing.
Okay, so now about the customer. Does the customer focus define the objective collaboration between all?
Yes. From the first definition, we have spoken about that. Collaboration is to work together to achieve a common goal. So what is the common goal? The common goal is defined by the client. The customer imposes the common goal. The customer is the common goal, okay? So the client EIR, the employee information requirements or exchange information requirements, better saying accordingly to ISO 19650, defines the objective to be achieved. And the collaboration is the most efficient and effective way to achieve it. So, of course, the client is keen to this goal.
Okay, and what motivates or should motivate those involved in a project entity?
In a nutshell, the motivation should be the success of the whole is what guarantees my success. This should be each one's motivation.
Great. Okay, so although we will go into this in the next BIM Zero, could you tell us what is value chain?
Yeah, it's a chain that adds value. So as the name refers, a generation of value that is maintained in the development of the project, guaranteed in the certainty that each link is as strong as the others. It is not a set of links. You are not gathering links. It is a chain that are links that are joined collaboratively and capable of transmitting value and security. And in each one of these bounds, you are adding value to the global goal.
And is collaboration the only one that generates innovation? Why?
Collaboration, it's not the only source of innovation, let's say, but it is one of the most important, for sure, okay? Collaboration can be a source of innovation because it takes each individual out of his or her specialty and brings him or her into the common work. It can give each one's insights into your own work and improves the whole. It would never have occurred to them to look at their work in a self-absorbed way. So community collaborative work provides solutions because it seeks a common final objective. Okay. Lots of times innovation reach in a collaborative environment ways, paths, novelties that no one was expecting, only for joining different people seeking for a common goal. And from there, it arises innovation. Okay?
Okay. So now we can go to the second section of this event about co-design. And I ask you, what is co-design?
Yeah, this co-design is very much related with collaboration, okay, as we have just spoken. Co-design is when you do design in a collaborative way, let's say like this. So co-design describes a cooperative design process involving relevant stakeholders as a team of co-designers who jointly explore the problem and solution space, okay? So in co-design, the team creates the product or the project by considering the creativity activity from different fields at the same time. Form, function, cost, time, environmental impact, etc., are all being considered together on a collaborative and cooperative environment where everyone is adding to the common solution, let's say.
Okay, so you co-design through revisions, having access to what you are modeling, right?
Yeah, if you are clear about the objective that reviews should pursue, they should serve to drive changes to what is being defined simultaneously with its development. Moreover, the review should be mandatory to avoid going down the wrong path if there has not been a prior sanctioning of the adequacy of what has been defined to all the objectives set. So the revisions are contributions of each one of these collaborative environments to improve towards the common objective, the common goal. There are in the revisions where we make small steps to achieve a better solution, a more creative solution, and the common solution. Okay.
Yeah, and what should be the reviewer's profile?
Well, the reviewer should be clear about the objective of each phase, task, or work unit. He or she must have a horizontal view of the state of the progress in the definition of the product so that it meets the objectives set for that phase and that level of definition that we are dealing with. So it should be someone that has a broader view and simultaneously is looking at all the parameters that are being handled and all the profiles that are collaborating. Okay.
And what preparation or training does that reviewer require?
As we have just said, cross-disciplinary training. He or she must be able to recognize the implications that decisions taking in any of the other areas may have on the whole project simultaneously. This is the main training, cross-disciplinary training. Okay.
What about the observer? Is it the same?
Well, the observer has a longitudinal view. So he should see where the process is moving towards and control its direction, not letting the project goes out of his focus with respect to the common objective that we have defined on the beginning. And lots of times the client has defined that common goals. look at the back and to the interrelationships in between the areas is also a need for the observer, okay? But mainly it should guarantee that the project stays on the tracks. That's the main role of an observer, okay?
Okay. Now, why is it so important that co-design takes place in the early phase?
To avoid future mistakes, of course, okay? When in early phases, we are looking at analyzing, designing, let's say, the product from many points of view at the same time during that development phase. Not doing this will lead to major errors in later phases, as we all know, and that is as it is common in our industry, unfortunately, lots of times. Selecting the most appropriate solutions, avoiding mistakes, practicing continuous improvement at all times are also lean principles that are so close and related to co-design. We are no longer, we are on a sustainability era, a green era, where we can no longer afford to have fat in our process. We need to lean it, we need to be more efficient, we need to clean it. So we need to do that at the beginning, understanding what will come onward and having these fats removed, let's say.
So you have always insisted that the value of design is of the utmost importance. Do you mean this collaborative design?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't see any design without any other type of design without being collaborative. I don't see the individual design as a proper design. For me, design is co-design. No way on that. We need to understand also that design should be done for the whole life cycle of the project, which implies many parameters and many roles. And we need to consider all these roles and all these parameters in a order that the whole design may be better, optimized, and collaborative, let's say like this.
Okay, so for all this to be possible, we must create this whole new collaborative culture, right?
Yeah, right. Undoubtedly. The collaborative culture is something that is not very deeply rooted in our society and in our industry. Lots of times we can't understand the common project as our benefit, okay? And we are always looking at our place, individual place, and not at our common and global place. So we need to start to think differently. We need to understand that my benefits depend on my team benefits, on my work group benefits. Those are the main mind shift that we need to introduce. Probably the leap to other models of common relational contracts with differentiation in terms of shared and linked responsibilities will facilitate the adoption of this collaborative culture. So let's hope, and I thank you, Daniel, for hosting this session. I hope that this presentation about collaboration and co-design could be a contribution for us all to change our way of doing design.
I believe it is. It was a great session. I thank you, especially you, for your time, for being here and for sharing your knowledge with us. I think everyone who's watching this, and I encourage all who have been watching to continue following the BIM Zero series right on the YouTube channel of BIM Freelance. So thank you again, José Carlos Lino.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
And I will see